Okay, I think I am live. I'm just going to check, just wait for the stream to load back up. In the meantime, we do have 38 people waiting for this show. Yes, we are live. Right, okay, so unfortunately, in the very last few minutes, I've had to reschedule this particular show for unknown reasons. However, I'll do a little show for you in the meantime. It's something that I hadn't had planned, but the show must go on, so I'll probably be live for 15-20 minutes at the most. Now, as you can tell, I've come down with a bit of the flu, so I'm not 100%, so it's maybe probably a good thing that I'm not actually doing a 2 or 3 hour stream this evening, as it turns out. But I mean, that's just the way these things happen. These things happen, and there's nothing we can do about it. But in the meantime, we do have Jason Didsbury, who's waiting. I'll bring him in a minute. He's on the call. He's going to be talking about the Globe Lie Tour. And the issues with that, and what's going to happen around the convention time up in Amsterdam. So, without further ado, let's get you all mic'd up. Jason, are you there? Oh, you need to unmic. Sorry, you need to unmute there. There we go.
There you go, of course. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all good. Now, I have been asked several times what's happening with the Globe Lie Tour. There's been a lot of rumours, a lot of speculation. It's cancelled, it's this, it's that, the other. Maybe you could enlighten us a little bit as to actually what's playing out, what's going on.
You're right, it's cancelled. It's these bloody trolls. And the problem with all of this is that people believe them. Nothing has been cancelled. I maintain that the tour's going ahead. I haven't said anything other than that. Yes, we did have to make some massive alterations. We still hadn't raised enough money to complete the tour, so I decided that rather than because we're starting at Amsterdam Convention, rather than leave the Amsterdam Convention and then go up to Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway area, because there's ferries involved there, and quite expensive ferries, not the cheapest. And then the petrol alone for that area is over £1,000 just to do that area. So I had to make a bit of a decision and think that, well, let's try and put that whole area and put that at the end of the tour, and just do a bit of a juggle around, because we've missed the first part of the first 2 weeks of the tour, which was the build up, the lead up to go down to Spain, Portugal, France, and back up Switzerland and back to Amsterdam. We've missed that part. It was the right thing to do in my eyes, because I wasn't quite ready for it because of the stickers going missing. They went missing for a while, and then we had the driver issue. Lack of drivers, and I'm pointing fingers, but Roxanne, you let me down. But it's not her fault, like she made a decision, like she had childcare all in place, and then all of a sudden childcare backed out and left a big problem for Roxanne to deal with, and then she's not been able to replace that childcare for that length of time, and just decided to make a decision, and kids come first. It's the right call. So I had this huge hole to fit, some drivers, but I mean, we've got Dave Murphy, and he's on board to do a large chunk of this journey, but we couldn't really just send him out all by himself. I mean, we're to enjoy this trip and not just let it be a job, a chore, to get round. So he kind of needs backup. He needs people to go along with him, and that's what we've done. I thought it's best to hold back a couple of weeks, get it all sorted out. The stickers are here, the new banners are here. Everything's kind of ready to go now. me and Roxanne we're stickering the fan this weekend. That's all. What's it getting done? And then next weekend it's the Amsterdam Convention. We've had this big, huge juggle on the locations and dates. Nothing's concrete. We're still in two minds of. We've had a good chat tonight. Me and Adam Meakin, Ruben, Roxanne, and Spurs Schemo. We've had a chat. About the new dates and locations and that. Sorry, all the locations are the same, just different dates, a different order. We've tried to keep it in the middle part of it all. It's kind of roughly the same. Nothing's really changed. It's kind of the start and the finish part has been juggled. Yeah, and this could change. This could, like we're still sorting out drivers for it. We've got the drivers. We're just sorting out the dates on what drivers can do what. And like yourself, I mean, you've offered to do 2 months, haven't you?
I did offer to do 2 months way back when. Yeah, that's true. And then obviously priorities came in, but this year again, I have said that I'm prepared to do at least a week, maybe 2 even, just depends. If we're doing it at the back end of sort of October, back end of November, because I know the tour will still be going then, I can probably get a couple of weeks in. So there we go.
Yeah. It's all looking good. I can give you a quick rundown on dates if you give you a little idea on which route will be starting. So coming out of the Amsterdam, Roxanne will be doing the first day of the tour. We've got that confirmed, that's pretty good. But we thought, because she was going to the convention anyway, she's managed to get childcare for like an extra day, which is fantastic. We go straight into Hamburg, Berlin, off to Warsaw, over to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. So as you see, we've kind of missed all Norway and Sweden, all that. That's going right at the end of the tour. Going to Czechia, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Moldova, off to Romania, Serbia, Kosovo, Macedonia, Bulgaria. So all of this part hasn't really changed. Greece, Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia, Croatia, Slovenia, Italy, San Marino. Back into Italy, there's Rome, Pisa, Milan and that. Liechtenstein, into Germany, Luxembourg, France, in Spain, Portugal, England, back into Spain, Andorra, France, Monaco, Switzerland, Denmark. And then it's a big, long extra trip, but if we do raise enough money by the end of the trip and we can take on Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and then back to England, we'll go for it. I'm a little bit concerned, a little bit worried, because it's going to be quite cold up there, quite snowy up there, so we're going to have to make sure that this camper is really insulated. It's got snow chains on, and we may even cancel at that point. I don't know. It might be. I should refrain. I shouldn't really say that. Cancel. We won't be cancelling. It will be kind of like postponed till we can finish it off. I'd imagine that area may be postponed till maybe April or something. Like the following year. We'll get round and we'll do everywhere. It's a little bit unfortunate, but I mean, if we were to raise enough money right now, like before we go, I'd put it back the way it was, and not mess about and just go straight into Sweden, Finland, and England. Norway and Denmark. I'd go straight in there.
Well, let's just be quite transparent here. Is that what you've said right now is that essentially you want to really start doing this because people have booked plane tickets. That's the thing. People have booked plane tickets to go over and do the tour. And they're going to have to reschedule their flights, etc. So, it's disappointing because it was all ready to go, but there is a new plan in place, and it might be better, I think, for everybody involved if you're now stuck to those plans. It's unlikely you're going to get the funds before that time anyway. And let's just see how it goes after the convention,
Yeah, I think that's why it's not. It can't be, like stuck in concrete. This, these dates and times because if we haven't got the money to get, to get round, we haven't got the money. Like that's all there is to it. We can only do what we can do. If God, it sounds as though like looking for the money all the time. I hate that. It's but petrol costs money. That's the what are we getting? We're getting roughly 300 miles per £100. That's not a lot. Like it's a big camper van, and they don't do a lot of mileage for what you put in there. Um, yeah,
Okay,
so
well, being positive, as it stands, the tour will still kick off. After Amsterdam, yeah, or on the final day of the Amsterdam conference.
yeah, I say, well, be driving the van to the convention, and then passing it on to the first, the first driver. I'm not sure who'll be driving with Roxanne. That's yet to be, but Roxanne will be on there. That's the first day. So the first day of the activism is on the 29th, Monday the 29th of September, and then you've got the next day, which is in Ghent and Brussels. So it's Belgium is the first day of the tour, and then it's actually a day off because there's a bit of a trek to get to Hamburg there from Brussels. Um, then yeah, that's it. I think the first day of the tour is Brussels, is Belgium. Um,
Okay.
but as I say, there's a lot of juggling about to do still. I mean, like, but I'm sure that's where it's all going to start then. Sorry, I'm just looking at the dates there. It's work in progress, So, but I think that's roughly about the closest that we can do it. That isn't going to just make too much disruptions because I think yesterday when I called the new dates, that was a massive disruption right in the middle and kind of messed all Adam's flights up and everything, and it made sense to try and keep it as a limitation of any change of dates. But you're right, some people have booked tickets, haven't they? I'm speaking to one guy who's joining the tour. Johnny, he's joining. So hopefully, I've asked for a Skype name, because I'm communicating by email at the moment, and it's never the best. So if he can, if you are listening, Johnny, if you can, give me your Skype. I've sent you an email back. If you can Skype me, and we can have further talks about that and see if we can get you back on the tour without too much of a pain in the neck for you. Let's see if we can get you on the tour because you're very welcome to.
Okay, just give me a couple of minutes to adjust the chat. Just
Of
one
course.
sec. Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah, I know a few people have joined expecting to see a long overdue ladies' night, but unfortunately things had to change in the literally 15 minutes before the show started. So I'm going to have to reschedule that particular thing. And I literally got Jason to come on in the last 5 minutes before the show started. So it was really unprepared this evening. But I obviously do appreciate Jason turning up. Now, there is a problem that I want to talk about, and I'll give you right. Let's start with some basics. Okay, so we have George Netanyahu, who wanted to take Globebusters Bob to court, and he wanted to know his work business, what he did, what his qualifications were, not his work business, but what his qualifications were, etc. Was he a pilot? Did he have this license? Did he have that license, etc., etc.? Now, that is information that's, it's private information. It's a bit like with what happened with Brian Mullen when it was found out where he worked. Things were looked into there. Now, I'm not suggesting for a minute that the Globers have done this, not at all. But somebody has done something to Jason specifically, and I was going to talk about it tonight anyway. And that was, well, Jason, do you want to tell the audience what actually happened? Because I got word of this morning, and I was disgusted with it. Now, there's no way we can attribute blame to one side here, because for all we know, it could be a flat earther that's doing it. But the simple facts are that people have been in touch, or will have been in touch with your work, literally with your work, to tell them about what you're doing, and I think it's disgusting. Do you want to tell the audience what's actually happened?
Yeah, it's a shame, and it is pretty disgusting. It's like it's a low blow. It is. It's not necessary. Look, I mean, well, I actually personally, I don't believe for a second it is a glow, but I think we've got enough problems of our own. I don't even know. Sometimes you can't even call it a community when there's people within our community who are shameful. But there they are. There is people. So there was something going on in Discord last night, and I got a heads up by a few people. And basically, the short end of it was somebody had spotted that I had my works uniform on, and thought, oh, this would be a great idea to contact my work, let them know that I'm. In fact, do you want me to? I've got it in front of me. I'll read it out exactly what it wrote. I'll read it out for you. It says here, and I don't mind. I mean, people can know where I work. I mean, it really isn't a problem. You know, like I'm not. I don't have a problem with anyone knowing. It's just it's the way this one is put. It's a low blow. It is, but I'll read it anyway. I looked up Avery Burkle. That's where I work, and sent them a short email. I was hoping you could give me a statement concerning one of your employees who is on YouTube. He is a flat earther and calls himself a globe denier. Fundamental to his beliefs is that gravity does not exist and things fall due to the density and buoyancy. Now, I would consider it essential for a company that supplies scales to very large retail chains to have employees that maintain these devices to have a basic understanding of gravity. One of the factors that determine the weight of an object is how on earth can your customers be assured that your scales are working correctly if they are serviced by a man who questions the fact that gravity can hold oceans to the earth, yet butterflies can fly. I'm not requesting that you make any consideration about his employment with you. I'm not that vindictive, really. I just hope that you can give me an insight into yours and his understanding of gravity. If Avery Burkle are flawed in this modern understanding of gravity, then your scales cannot be considered in any way accurate. As this man is filming his video concerning his Globe Light tour dressed in Avery Burkle attire, then I can only assume that his and your beliefs coincide. Thanks for your time. I'll get a response. I'll update y'all. Yeah, that messes with the security of what's it?
Well, let's just cut to the chase, right? That email or letter, whatever it was that was sent, right, had no business reaching your employers, right? What you do outside of your work has absolutely nothing to do with some globe or flat earth dickhead who decides to write that email to them, right? Because ultimately this could have led to a suspension, maybe even a sacking, right? Now, if you have a family, if you have a house, if you have commitments, bills to pay, right, essentially that is taking away your right to feed your children, look after your business, right? All because they want to enquire, hint hint. They had no reason to stick the nose in whatsoever, right? And let me be quite clear, right? This isn't a one-off incident. This has happened before, right? Brian Mullen, and then when people are specifically asking to find out people's private information, right, and come on and try to ascertain that information, I am going to say, no, fuck off. It is nothing to do with you, right? Now that's just me, that's my opinion, and I'm sure every other single person that has listened to this and how they have worded that email will feel exactly the same, right? You can't go around messing around with people's life in the real world. Hate the subject, don't hate the person. Carry on, Jason.
Well, what you don't know is that yes, I have had a response from work. They contacted me on my way home tonight. I'm hoping that they can see, like reason. I've actually got
hang on just a minute. So what you're saying now is that you have been contacted by your work, right?
Oh yes,
and you now have to defend yourself. Right.
Yeah.
So in a
That's
situation that you wouldn't have had to do, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you literally have to go in and now defend yourself has already tainted your work relation with your employer, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what they say, it's causing shit, unnecessary, and I'm fucking disgusted.
Yeah, so there you go. So they went through with it. It wasn't just a bluff or anything. They went through with it. But I get on really well with my bosses. Like they actually are a fantastic crowd. So I'm quite fortunate there. So I had a phone call just asking. I think that they are a little bit miffed off that I had my uniform on, quite rightly so. I never give it a slightest thought, that I had. I was such in a rush of trying to get this information out to everybody, about the tour. And that my dinner break was my only time that I could get this information out, and I never give it a thought that I had my t-shirt. Normally I would take off my even my badge, but I left that on as well. I forgot all about it. But anyway, so I've had the talk, but my boss now has to speak to his boss now. So literally, well done whoever, because by tomorrow, I really could be out of a job. It's not in my boss. It's not in his hands. It's in his boss's hands. What to do. I'm actually on probation. I've only been there 5 months. So I haven't got my signed, sealed, and delivered contract yet. For full employment. So they can walk me right out the door tomorrow if they want. Well done. Thank you very much. That's kind of like quite stressful now, and I could, lose my job tomorrow.
And there's just no need for it. There is absolutely no need. There's no need for whoever it was to try and find an in regards to the scales that they sell, in regards to gravity, just to try and bring that up, to try and make a connection, to sniff around your job, to let them know what the hell. It has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with them in the first place. I'm so angry. I'm so angry, and I'm so angry that people think that this is funny and it's a joke, but it's not, because you have, I assume, I don't know, I'm assuming here, you have a family, right? I don't know, you don't have to confirm anything, I don't want to know anything, but
I think at this point now, when you get letters like this, I think, because I've been an open book to everybody, and now you feel like, no, it's time for most people, you need to shut up, and don't say anything about your personal life and that, I've been a little bit too naive thinking that there is some honest and decent people out there, but there is a few disgusting people out there, that don't care.
But regardless of whatever your personal things in, I think you need to zip that, keep it tight, pray that you keep your job for a start, and it's just a black mark that didn't need to be there, and it's even worse with you being on probation too. I mean, your direct manager, you told me earlier, had no problems with your work, but the boss above him might think this is an issue, and without the boss above him knowing who you are and seeing you're on probation, could easily let you go,
Yeah, and I understand why, because I mean, as Matey says here in this letter that he's written, they have some really big contracts, throughout the whole world, but huge contracts here in the UK. they can't afford to jeopardize anything, like, and like to have in their eyes, like someone who doesn't understand gravity in their eyes, yeah, I imagine that might be an issue to them. I'm hoping that my that as I say, my boss, my manager, I hope that he can see what this is, and like that it's just someone being vindictive and trying to get me the sack on purpose, because like they're saying here, like that they're that's not their intention, but
why mention it though?
But why mention it then? It is their intention. He says here, I am not that vindictive. You are so that vindictive. No one could possibly write such a letter if they weren't this vindictive.
Massive shout out to JQ in the super chat, who gave a $20 super chat and said, behold the petty behold the petty vindictive Globers. They can't defend their model with actual arguments and instead have to resort to terrorism. Sad. It is sad, and it gets worse. It gets even worse. I mean, it can't get much worse for you personally, but for the tour itself. These guys, well, whoever it is, flat earther or globe earther, I'm not labelling it's one or the other. The information leads to it being a globe earther, but that's not definitive. However, they've also reported the tour bus. Do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, and like I'm not sure where the original. I think it's from Discord as well. I'm not sure where the original information come from, but I do think it's from Discord. But apparently the tour bus's number plate has now been
sent to Interpol, isn't it?
Sent to Interpol, which is like it's just it's ludicrous. But like I have to see the funny side, like, because this tour bus is going to be so flat smacked. I'd imagine Interpol would probably want to be pulling it over anyway, regardless for a quick look see, like. But as long as it's all taxed, MOT'd and insured, and like there's drivers with driving licenses, and yeah, I can't really see any problems, like. But the lengths that these are going to, it can only be because that they're panicking. They're panicking that we're making progress.
Well, let's just be clear, right? So when you report something to Interpol, right? Now, they might do nothing, right? But it's also quite likely that they might just stick it on some kind of system which will flag the number plate at different points in time. And it's more likely that you're going to get pulled over, searched. The tour bus might get searched regularly. Now,
yes,
it's just a hassle. There'll be nothing obviously wrong with the tour bus or the people on it. However, if you've got Interpol all over you, and if they take it seriously, who knows? They might just dismiss it completely. But the fact that they've gone to those lengths to contact Interpol in the first place just shows their intent. Now, let's suppose every country we go in, we get stopped and we're held up for a couple of hours. Well, that jeopardises the tour because we have such a long journey, and you guys have such a long journey to travel. It's almost, it's going to make it unworkable if that's what's going to happen. But this is what they're doing. Who's to say that whenever they know all these destinations that we go to, that let's suppose it's in Luxembourg or wherever, that they're going to get phone calls to the police in Luxembourg reporting the number plate of the bus. This will be the next step.
Yeah,
it's a serious campaign here, and it's against you and the tour for some reason.
Yeah, it's maddening. I've got no words to say. Why would anyone just go this far? It's bad enough how these global believers kind of like defending their precious ball and trolling all their our channels, on us investigating what it is that we've been taught. Now that's all we're doing is investigating. We're not throwing out any claims or anything. We're investigating. I said to you before, I kind of see three levels of being like a flat earther. And as you get in this, I believe that everybody is a globe skeptic. and that's a good place to be. You're a globe skeptic. You're checking out the moon landings. You're doing your research, and then you become this globe denier once you're pretty sure that I don't live on a ball anymore. Like I'm positive I don't live on a ball no more. You're now this globe denier, and then you move forward one more step, and then you can become this flat earther. I just think that no one should be a flat earther yet because, well, we don't really know yet, do we? It's observably flat, but we don't know for sure what it is that we're living on. We don't know how big this place is. We don't know any of the dimensions. We don't know what our model is or anything. So really, I think that we're kind of stuck in limbo.
Well, let me just intersect for a second. There's a couple of super chats, and then I'll mention something about that. So, from Earth is seriously flat. The globe zombie animal mind is dangerous. Thank you for the super chat. And we had JQ again, who says, Globers, we know you're depressed. Share your pain. And Nathan Oakley doubles up with that, share the pain. Anyway, as you're saying about this this flat earther, etc., whether you'd label yourself that, Nathan Oakley's changed his introduction slightly. So instead of him saying the shape of the earth, he says the nature of the earth. So
that's different.
Think about that for a minute. So to discuss the nature of the earth. Okay, so we know it presents itself as flat. We can't find any curvature, but we don't know its dimensions, proportions, or anything. So you would call it the nature of Earth. Now, another super chat from Trish Blythe, who says, claim your religion. Claim it's your religion, they can't fire you. There you go, that might be interesting. Can you claim it's your religion and they can't fire you?
I think doesn't a religion. I mean, I kind of know. Sorry, I already know where the law stands on that. Anyway, I mean, like it doesn't have to be a religion. It just needs to be a belief. That's where the law stands. But I mean, I'm hoping it would never go that far because, like I have to work with these guys, and I like these guys. Like I like the job and everything. Like so, I hope it doesn't go down that far. But it's but yeah, you don't need to be a religion. The law states that it just needs to be a belief. That's all. They can't throw me out.
Ooh, I don't think Rancy ever listens to me. Nathan says, yes, I do. So you did. So he has changed things around. Nature of Earth. So if you are discussing the reality that we live in, it might be best to discuss rather than the shape of the Earth, because obviously we can never ascertain what the shape is, but the nature of it, well, it presents itself as flat, doesn't it? So, that's a different way of looking at things.
Yeah.
So just for the people that have tuned in right now expecting to see a bunch of ladies, what you do have is two middle-aged guys here who are certainly not ladies. Let me just clarify that for a minute.
No, I've got too much hair on my back.
But unfortunately, due to a very, very last-minute schedule change, I will have to have cancelled the ladies' evening for now. Hopefully we'll get something sorted very soon, though. We have got another super chat. Let me just bring that up. So it's from Flat Out Faith. Jason, the Global Eye Tour daily update stream was absolutely the best daily streams. You're a champion for FE. Press on, brother. There you go. How cool is that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's nice when you get support like that, and people, want to give you a big up, because look at last year. I mean, how many weeks last year was it? How many months?
Yeah, well, I mean, don't forget Harry did most of that. Harry and I had to take a small time out. I think I did say to Harry once I finished that, I said, "Oh God, I'm not ready to pack in yet. Let's get going." Because he'd done this whole tour from beginning to end. I had a little time off in the middle and thought I just wasn't done. I wasn't finished. There was more to be done. Hence, that's why we're doing this one. And then again, lying to tell me that you're not doing tours. So I'll figure it all out. Next year I'm going to take all my holidays. Will be all about doing the tours. We'll see. So if my boss is watching, sorry, that's what I'm doing next year.
Well, I mean, like I say, I mean, you shouldn't have to explain yourself. That's the main thing, I mean, it's none of. I mean, without that email, it wouldn't be an issue. But now that your company has received an email from a vindictive person who has seen your work on this, has contacted your business, your company, to inform them of that and inform them how you're in some way not believing in gravity, which means that you can't possibly be fit for purpose to adjust these scales that you repair, etc. So it's like, it is in a way them trying to get you sacked, obviously. I mean, they had no reason to contact you at all or contact your business at all. They had no reason for doing that. I mean, do you know how they found out where you worked?
Well, I mean, I think what they've done is they've downloaded my video that I did. They've zoomed in on my T-shirt. Must have seen the logo Avery Burkle, and then went from there. It's absolutely, it's just crazy. It's bonkers, crazy. Because I mean, basically, what they've done is has made it. Because I don't take, obviously I'm not going to take my my out of hours I don't even know what to call it. It's not a hobby, it's not a the cause I'm on, or what would you call it? What is it we do?
Well, it's just it's activism, isn't it? I mean, everybody has
I mean, yourself, you wouldn't call it a hobby, would you? It's more than that.
No, it's ingrained in me, and it's a passion. I mean, I'm full of the flu right now, and I'm still doing it.
There you go. It's so much more. I mean, but anyway, I mean, I don't take it into work with me because I find things like that very unfair, because it can be a sore subject, and to take it into work and then if it goes horribly wrong when I'm talking to someone, then I've still got to keep working with that someone, and then that's not fair, is it? So I always decided to keep it away from work. But if someone approaches me, from work, then obviously I've got nothing to hide, nothing to be ashamed of or anything like that. To the best of my ability, they'll get what I've learned so far. And then they can make their own choices, and that's what I basically said to my boss as well. We did have a long conversation with him.
I don't know why George is trying to call me. George Netanuk. I have no idea. He must know that I'm live right now.
Yeah. So it's going to be a bit of a stressful time now, because I do work with quite a few of all the technicians, and I can imagine there'll be some awkward phone calls now when I have to speak to them on a daily basis. It's going to be not too clever. Let's hope that they can all be professional. Let's hope that.
Well, just say, as long as it as long as it hasn't affected your your work, I can't see them taking too dim a light on it. The only problem you've got is that you're on probation, so it's it's just it's seriously brutal. I mean, I hope you don't come back to me in a couple of days and say, they had to let me go, because that'll literally light a fire, I think, under. I mean, it will explode all over. I mean, people will be. I'm incensed at the fact that they just got in touch with your company, but if it results in you actually getting sacked over it, I mean, do they have no conscience, these people?
Yeah, that's right. I don't think the problem is I don't think they can think of what the consequences would be, or they don't care. But you just wouldn't do this to someone. I think what it is that we just think we've got morals. We think differently. Why would anyone do such a thing? It's just beyond me. It is. But anyway, I'm not gonna dwell on it. It's happened. It's it's onward and upward, and let's get on with it. there's not much I can do about it now, and I've just got to take it on the chin, and and hope, as again, that everyone at work can be professional, and things will be okay. It'll be okay. I'm sure it'll be. Fingers crossed.
Right, so apparently, I've just had a message from George. Apparently, he's blocked on the channel, which I didn't know. And he says, I mention him and try to tie this in with him. No, nothing of the sort. I actually stated quite categorically that when people find out your personal business, it affects how they behave. Either online, or like with Brian Mullen, who disappeared. He was very active at one point. As soon as his company found out what was going on, he was no longer active on Flat Earth, right? Let's put it that way. And then you've got people trying to ascertain people's personal information, where they work, where they live, etc. Right? It's called doxing. Now, as soon as somebody found out where you worked, what's the first thing they did? When was that T-shirt on that you say, or that shirt on, where they were able to get a hold of your business address, right?
Yeah, yesterday.
So it was yesterday. So on the same fucking day, right, that you had the T-shirt on and they were able to ascertain where you worked, the same fucking day they fire an email off, or somebody fires an email off to your company reporting you. Right? So this is my point, right? Trying to find out people's business, where they work, where they live, when they don't volunteer it, right? I volunteer what I do, right? I haven't a problem with that because I'm my own boss. Nobody tells me what to do and I can't get sacked from my own job, right? So, there we go. So I volunteer that. But people have got to be guarded against this stuff because this is what will happen. On the same day that Jason exposed where he worked is the same day that they fire off an email to his fucking business, right? So, George, listening in the chat, who can't comment, right? And I will unblock you at some point, right? But you're there trying to message me and saying I'm tying this into you. No, I'm saying the same thing happened with Brian Mullen when you actually looked into his personal details. The same thing happened, right? He ran the risk of losing his job and he came off Flat Earth, came off his YouTube channel, right? The same thing that happened with Jason here, right? Or what's potentially could happen with Jason, right? Phoning up Interpol, trying to get in touch with them and reporting the number plate, right? This is what happens, right? So when you asked me to bring Bob in to give you his written, qualifications, right? Written qualifications, that really does have no business of you, right? And I made that point quite clear to you when you came in and asked for that, right? And I said, no, I don't think giving that personal information has anything to do with you, right? Because this is what happens. This is what people do. They're vindictive, horrible. People are nasty. I'm sorry. I'm ranting a little bit, but it's only because George triggered me then by trying to claim that I'm tying it in with him when I'm just making a point. Right, Earth is seriously flat. Typical globe zombie animal behaviour. George, etc. Right. Well, as I'm going to go back onto George here because he's set me off now. Right. This is what happens, right, George, when you wanted to get Bob Nodell to come in and present his pilot's license and his his qualifications, Do you think people would, if he showed them, do you think they'd just sit back and just accept it? Or would they start looking into it and finding out who he works for? He already lost a contract. He lost a contract when they found out that he was actually a flat earther. A contract that he'd been, a very lucrative contract that he'd been working on with them for years, right? Because this is what happens, right? So no, it's not going to happen, George. You're not going to find out what Bob's qualifications are. You're not going to find out what his pilot's license are. It's nothing to do with you. You accept the argument and you move on, or you don't.
Yeah, I think who was it? I think someone made a video of me recently. I forget who it was. I can't think who it was, but they did a video recently and asking about, do I have a passport? Are people insured on the van? And other details. They're kind of begging you to prove things to them. Like, oh yeah, I'll get my passport out. There's my passport number. Of course, you can see that. There you go. And would you like my driving license? I'll give you my full address if you want. Like, you can come round. We'll have coffee or something. That'd be fine. Like, it's how much do they want to know? Like, it's honestly, it's there has to be a line drawn. Like, of just back off. Like, I kind of I'm trying to be as open as possible, but there has to be a line.
Yeah,
it's mad.
A massive shout out to Lumberjack for smashing the super chat again, and he said right on Ranty. And also we've got Bob Nodell's in the actual chat, and he's saying that George is trying to get Chris Van Matre fired from his job right now. Now, I don't have any information about that. I've never heard that before. I don't know whether the validity of that, but and who's to say it's George is behind it? But if Bob has that information, if he knows for sure that George is definitely trying to get Chris Van Matre fired from his job right now, then this just goes to show what people are like. Now, I'm not saying that George is trying to do this. It's a claim by Bob. But ultimately, this is what's going on. Chris Van Matre, has probably been in touch and said something, I would imagine. And this is where it's all coming from. People are starting to look into people's personal business. I mean, it happened to me when I first came as a flat earther, and I'd been only around it for 6 or 8 months. I had people like Mark Taylor doxing me, because I was very open, just like you. They found out my home telephone number, right? And they were phoning me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Phoning me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, nuisance calls all day long, right? Until after about 6 weeks they got bored. Yeah, but that was 6 weeks of having to put up with that shit. Because that's what they do,
Yeah, it's nonsense. It's not on.
But they couldn't attack my business because, I'm my own boss. So it's not like they can phone my boss up and say this, that, and the other, because I am the boss.
Yeah. I just need to go back about 10 months, and I've been my own boss for nearly all my life, and it's only recently I decided that no, I'd rather work for somebody else at the moment. It's I feel like I can't really think. I put all my energies into this, what we're doing, and to have the sort of job that I'm doing at work, it suits me really well. It does. Like, I don't have to think too hard. It's really good.
Earth is seriously flat. Don't fight flat earthers, fight pseudoscience. Another super chat. I'm just going to read out a couple of messages that George has sent me in Skype. You mentioned me and trying to tie me into things. This is not right. I am not trying to tie you into anything. I'm making a point. Let me respond to the accusations. There is no accusations. I haven't made any accusations against you there, George. This is not right. Why are you being so unfair to me? I'm not being unfair to you, George. I'm not accusing you of anything or anything like that. And lastly, he says, I had nothing to do with this. I do not even know who this Jason is. That's fair enough. I never once said you had anything to do with it. What part of George isn't listening that I didn't say that George had anything to do with this? I never did. Right. It's like, but this is this is what you start, when you start looking into people's business. You were the first one to do it, as far as I can recall, there, George. You looked into Brian Mullen's business, and now people are looking into your business, and this is the effect it's having, What do you want to talk about the call you had tonight? I mean, or is that something personal you don't want to really speak about?
You talking to me?
Yeah. I said, do you want to talk about the call you had this evening with your boss, or do you want to just leave that as a private conversation?
No, I mean, like, oh God. No, it was a quite it was an okay call. You know, he was quite professional, and you know, he was diplomatic about it, very tactful. I think he felt awkward having the conversation with me, you know. But as a boss, he's still got to bring it to my attention, and you know, I think he was just more concerned the fact that I did I did have my my uniform on, and I actually I don't even think that he's seen the video. I don't think so. I think what they've done is put a link in there or something. I don't think they've seen the video because he mentioned a couple of bits in there that wasn't on the video. He mentioned gravity, and I, you know, like that I was talking about gravity, and I wasn't talking about gravity. I was talking about the tour. So I think, which might be a good thing. I think they might be happy the fact that, you know, like my them videos were taken down once I realised, because as I say, I didn't give it a thought that I was wearing my uniform. I was just getting that information out in my dinner break, and I wasn't thinking about my clothes. Who does?
No, you wouldn't think that they'd want to zoom in on your t-shirt and then fire an email the same damn day.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
let me just be clear, because I've been clear throughout this entire stream, just in case George is listening here, that I didn't specifically say that Globe Earther was behind it. I also said it could be a very triggered flat earther that did it. In fact, I'm making no accusations against any side. I'm just saying that there is people out there that do this. As the information that I've been told leads it to believe it probably is a globe earther, but that doesn't mean a thing. Not in this community. You know, you get people pretending to be globe earthers that are flat earthers that are globe earthers. You know, it happens all over, and in the Discord group, it could be anybody's name that they've just chosen or anything like that. So it's literally almost impossible to find out who or which side it was that did it. But the simple fact is that people did it, or somebody did it.
Well, I'll throw one little thing in there. The type of writing and what's been said, it's very familiar to me, and it screams out who I think I know who's actually written it. It screams to me, and I'm telling you now, it's not a Glober. Not a Glober, and it's not George, and you know, like, so, and that's the difference between like me and this so-called person and all that. You know, like, I wouldn't even dare or dream of mentioning names because, yeah, I might be way off. So why would I throw accusations? But he's not a Glober, not what I think. No.
Do you think it's like somebody that just doesn't believe then, if you know, I mean, obviously we don't know, we can speculate here, so let's do a bit of speculating. Do you think the person that's involved just doesn't agree with the way you do your activism?
Yeah, I think this is, that's right. I think this is very vindictive one, this one this person's got a grudge, you know, like, and not happy of my style. And please don't throw any names, you lot in the chat. Don't throw any names because, you know, like, I mean, I could give you 20 names of people that don't like my style and don't like what I do. You know, like, so don't think, you know, point to just one person because you think, no, there's a few people that I've spoken up in the past. It's not a problem, you know, like. I'm not in anybody's cult, you know. I don't follow people, you know. Like, I do my thing, and if it coincides with other people that they like what I do, then great, they can come and join, you know, and help out. But you know, I just do my own thing. That's all.
Right. So if George is in the chat listening right now, I've just found that he was actually banned. So I've just unbanned you. So if you want to fire your whatever it is that you're going to rant about in the chat, I'm sure you'll want to say some stuff rather than messaging me. But let me just be quite clear on this. I didn't for 1 minute say it was you who did this. So, you know, you can take those accusations, George, and stick them up your ass, because I didn't say that. But what I am disgusted is that somebody did do this. Right, that's the point. No matter whether they're a flat earther or a globe earther, somebody has done this, and it's just messing with people's livelihoods, finances, business. Just There's no need for it.
Mm, mm.
Anyway, on a positive note, if we can have a positive note here, right? So, temporarily the tour is on hold until the Amsterdam convention, right? And then hopefully it's kicking off again. So, what I'll do is I'm gonna. Is there any kind of GoFundMe or anything like that you have up? Is there anything that you know when you're talking about the tours run short? What are we talking about here? Let's be brutally honest. What is it that you need for the community to provide for this tour to actually complete?
Um, all the big stuff's been taken care of now. As I say, we've got the last. Is it the last couple of ferries to pay for? There is also the. I'd say all the advertising and all the leaflets and all that. That's all been paid for. Banners all been done. Insurance been done. RAC's been done. Everything I could possibly think of, it's all been taken care of. That's all been done.
Oh, hang on, just one sec there. Just one sec. I just need to address something in chat. Professor Phil Bell, right? His comment just now. This was disgusting and precisely why I got angry when Weasel Sleeping Warrior tried to put my email online. He never did that, Professor Phil Bell. He never put your email out. He copied your actual words inside of the email and pasted it. He didn't have anything to do. Your email was not exposed to anybody. Your email address, nothing. Right? But what you said inside of the email was displayed for the audience to see. But your email address was kept secret, but your words were spoken about. So take that back. Sleeping Warrior wasn't a weasel for trying to expose your email address, because that never happened. Right? It was your email words inside of it. So when you got triggered and freaked out about that, he was respecting everything, because I'd sent him the comments that you'd put inside of the email. I didn't send him the email or his email address. He didn't have that. So you can retract that. Right, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just, if you give us a second, I just want to quickly do a tally up of it, give you an idea of how much petrol is probably going to be needed. So there is still approximately about 12,000 miles to be done. Bloody hell. Yeah, so there's and if you work that out, we're getting roughly about 300 miles per 100 pounds.
So that's about £3,600.
Okay, so that's how much sort of like diesel that we're going to need, and then there's there was food for for those who are going to be driving, and that's basically the main sort of expenses. There's things like parking fees. There's a lot of miscellaneous, but small miscellaneous. There's parking fees to be taken care of. There's also there may be the odd one or two campsites so that they can redo their waters and things, for the van and that, and dispose of the crap, whatever you want to call it.
So how much has the tour raised up to now, or how much has the tour got in its funds ready to carry on?
I think it originally raised around about 5,500-6,000. It was somewhere around there, and now we're down to about 3,000 now, and that's not just petrol and all that. It's like there was approximately £800 spent on the advertising. And that's leaflets, banners, stickers, and that about £800 got spent on that. There's the ferries going across, to Ireland and to the Isle of Wight, and then there's food, and then there's fuel and all that. So
you've got 3,000 in lieu ready. You've got 3,000 ready. You need 3,600 for fuel. Let's just say that it's probably going to cost a tad more just because of you're getting lost and stuff. Let's say 3,800, and then what, £500 for miscellaneous. So, maybe the tour needs what, £1,500 extra to carry on. Would that be a reasonable amount to ask to try and get the community to raise? Would that see it through to the end?
I don't know. There's maybe other little bits. I don't know because you've got things like you put me right on the spot here, and you
Sorry,
got
sorry. I'm just, I don't want to. I don't want you to commit to anything. Then, if that,
no,
because
no.
I mean, I know there's the
That's
ferries. I excluded the ferries, and I just didn't even think for a minute. But yeah, you told me before the ferries are going to cost quite a lot of money as well. So
and there's things like what's it, the live streaming and that like the data packages that they're going to need to live stream back. There is a few little things. I did have them. I'm on a totally different spreadsheet at the moment, so there was a spreadsheet of all the little incidences. Oh, yeah, all right. So there is. Oh yeah, there's going to be some tolls and things, like that we've got to get through. There'll be tolls. And then food basically, and everything else we've seen. As I say, we've done the stickers, done the banners, done the leaflets, done the insurance, done RAC. I've got the Euro tunnel is already done as well to get us over there. Yeah, no, it's all coming together. It's just but the final figure of what we're going to need, it might come up to about another 5,000 or something, 4.5, 5,000.
okay,
Something like that.
right. Well, maybe that'll be raised on the actual trip itself. Hopefully, if people support your with the super chats and stuff, or maybe something else, Patreon, GoFundMe.
I hope people think now, like it's not a money making generating idea, like to line somebody's pockets and that now.
Well,
No,
people do think that. That's the thing.
I know
Yeah.
some people might think that, but look, I'm not even going on this trip now. Like we're trying to get these lads around Europe, and by right we should feed them. Like they're going to be doing something for us as well. Feed them, get them around Europe and back again safely. And there's going to be a few little incidences along the way that we're going to have to take care of. Apart from that, if there's any money left over, like we'll grab that money and if everybody's in agreement, we'll pass it on to the next fantastic thing that we're all interested in. We'll have a vote and see if there's any money left over and what to do with it. I mean, as I say, I've got a job, and I've got a job at present. So I've got a job, and I mean, like we're not doing this to make money. It's purely to get this tour on, off the ground and get it around Europe and back again. That's all it is.
Right. I see that Professor Phil Bell didn't retract what he said about Sleeping Warrior. He called him Sleeping Wanker, tried to expose him and his email address. That didn't happen.
Well, I think if people are making these sort of accusations, I mean, shut up or show the proof. Like just one or the other. Like the amount of accusations that get slung around with no proof whatsoever. I've had tons thrown at me, and every time that I shout loud, like, can you show people the proof? It just doesn't materialize. Like, yeah, shut up or show the proof.
So I'm just trying to find why I unblocked George, and now he's emailing me, messaging me again, saying that he still can't chat, so he must be blocked again. So let me just see if I can find him or again. No, it looks like he can actually comment. So I've no idea why he's telling me and messaging me that he can't, because he certainly isn't blocked anymore. So George, yes, you can actually comment. Right, well, what time is it? Yeah, I've been going for an hour now. I appreciate you coming on. I think I'm going to round up. I'm glad we was able to voice those opinions about what's actually happened to you personally in your private life. You know, the messing around that's gone on, and let the community know that you know you're now a target. You know.
Yeah, there has to be lines drawn. You know, like there's certain things are low blows, not needed in this. You know, like believe what you want or don't believe. If it happens to be, you know, from a like-minded person, as in another flat earther and that. Geez, come on. I mean, like, come and speak to me on the street. You know, like, come and find me, speak to me. You know, like Dell had the balls to come and speak to me. Then come and speak to me. I've got no problems with speaking to people and all that. I mean, Dell could be a little bit less aggressive. You know, that would be really good. You know, like, but yeah, come and speak to. You know, if you've got problems, this is the whole problem, isn't it? No one's talking. They're just slagging each other off. You know, like, talk to us. You know, like, we'll give you all the information that you possibly need. But I guess a lot of people don't want this information. They just want to troll you. That's all they're looking for. And, you know, it's nonsense. It is.
Right. Well, just to be clear here, I mean, you know, this is a Globe somewhat friendly chat. You know, I mean, you know, I welcome the Globers to come on and do presentations. I allow them to come in and do chit chat nights. You know, and I still want to do that going forward. I actually moderate and Toady UK just now. He's in the chat. He's actually a Globe Earther. You know, Professor Phil Bell, a Globe Earther, and they're moderators on a Flat Earthers channel. You know, yeah. I'm trying to do something different here. I'm trying to hold out an olive branch so that we can come to a better way of trying to solve our differences. And yet, the old school people, these people with a chip on the shoulder, these people that are still dug in the trenches, hating the other side. We hate them, they hate us. Let's keep this war going. That's never the way to resolving our problems, you know. And this is why I'm doing this format. It's so that we can get to the bottom of everything and in a reasonable way without having to do this shit. So, but targeting you personally is just, you know, it's just disgusting. You know, it's something that I would never even dream of doing, you know. Mm-hmm. And you know, that I want people to reflect on that. That, you know, I've literally opened up my channel as an olive branch to the Globe Earthers and Flat Earthers and everybody alike to come in and do a more reasonable debate, a more reasonable, try and move things forward without hating each other. And yet you've still got people going out of the way to target people like they've done with you. You know? And people like them should be exposed. They should feel ashamed for what they do. And I want them to feel ashamed for what they've done. You know, because we're not bad people. You know, we're average, everyday, normal human beings that just have a different belief in something, right? And it's time to put on your big pants, your big boy pants, grow up and start acting like adults, not like children, and trying to be the naughty child in the class that's always trying to get the other school kid into trouble, you know, because that isn't how we're working anymore. I don't want it to work like that, me personally. But, you know, we can't stop the scumbags from what they want to do. If scumbags want to behave like that, they're going to behave like that.
Yeah, well, anyway, thanks for having me on. Let's...
Yeah, no worries.
Nighty night.
No worries. I'll spam your link in the chat right now, and hopefully people will go over and subscribe to your channel and watch what you've got coming forward and keep to date with the updates that you're going to provide. So, right, I'll put your link in right now, and then I'm going to hit the hay as well because I'm absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers for coming there.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, cheers. And yeah, just a reminder, this isn't ladies' night.
No, it's definitely not ladies' night. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. Okay then. Cheers then, buddy.
All right. See you in a bit.
Bye.
So So that was Jason of the Didsbury family, and that was myself having to do a rescheduled stream because unfortunately things at the last moment had to change and I wasn't able to put on the show that I wanted to do. Hopefully we'll get that on again at some point. In the meantime, it was just as interesting to bring out this information. I thought it was important to let the community know what's been happening, the pressures that people are put under, and the lengths that some people will go to. Not saying for sure it's a globe earther, it could be a flat earther, who knows who it was, but people are out there and they will try to do shit like this. They will try to interfere with your personal life, and it causes troubles. It's unnecessary, and I'm just hoping that in time we can find a better way to be with each other. We don't have to be like this. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm sorry it wasn't the attractive ladies that you was hoping to see. You had to make do with Jason and me. Obviously we're not ladies, just to confirm that. Pete Shea. But yeah, that'll do for tonight. I do believe if George's still doing his presentation on Saturday, we shall do that. If he's going to throw a little hissy fit and doesn't want to do it because of tonight's stream, for whatever reason, even though I didn't specifically say anything about him personally, then it is what it is. But hopefully it's still going ahead, and maybe next week. I don't know if I'll be doing any streams, to be fair. I don't think I will be doing anything next week at all. I think I'm having a week off. So you may not see me again now for a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, that'll do for this particular stream, and I shall see you all in the next one.